All right, we're back here on the Saturday morning show, and I've got a great guest with me this morning. We're going to talk about a great organization that is based right here in Dickson County that does a lot for our youth. I've got Mr. Jim Lutz on the phone here with me, and he's from the Quest Center here in Dickson. Jim, first off, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I hope you and all your listeners had a really nice holiday.
Yes, sir. I hope you did as well. It's been a very busy week for a lot of folks, a lot of traveling, things like that, with Christmas being this week, and then of course we've got New Year's next week. So it's kind of this period between Christmas and New Year's where it's like people aren't sure what day it is. So it's kind of a fun time of the year, at least for me, anyways. I get to spend a lot of time with the kids and get to spend a lot of family time. So I just absolutely love that. So I hope you had a great holiday as well. And I appreciate you calling in this morning. So we're going to talk this morning about the Quest Center. And, I probably got some people listening, Jim, that may not know what the Quest Center is. So maybe we should start there. Can you just kind of give us a basic overview of what the Quest Center is for somebody who maybe had just never heard of it?
Sure, sure. And I do want to say thank you for the invite. This is a great opportunity, and I'm glad you're able to fit me in. The Quest Center, in its most fundamental form, the Quest Center has one job, and that is to make sure that any kid, and I'm talking any kid, who wants to learn how to play music has an opportunity to do so. We encounter so many children throughout the community, especially through our relationship with the Dickson County Board of Education and all of the local school administrations. We meet so many children that don't even know they want to play music until we meet with them, and they get excited about what the opportunities are. So that's really fundamentally our single job, is to make sure all kids have access to music education, instruments, and a structured, positive environment where they learn a whole lot of other skills. We refer to them as essential skills, things like positive self-esteem, self-confidence. We just finished up a lot of holiday performances at public schools all across Dickson County. And when these children walked in our classroom in September, if you had told them that they were going to be playing Christmas songs in front of hundreds of people in 3 months, they just would have probably left the room. But yet they stood up there, they played their music, they were confident, and when they were done, they just had a blast when they took their final bows. So this is about music education, but I will tell you, it's about so much more than music education, and we hear it over and over again from our families.
Well, and it's important for organizations like yours to provide these opportunities for kids in the community because, we're very fortunate here. Not every community has an organization like yours, and it's just wonderful that our kids here in Dickson County can have the opportunity to do this. Can you take me back a little bit? How did this thing get started? Because it's a wonderful organization. Like I said, not every community has one. How did it come about here in Dickson?
Well, I had moved to Dickson about 20 years ago, and at the time, there were a lot of young folks that would hang out on Main Street in the evening, and they would just sit in the street and play some music. They just didn't have a hub. They didn't have somewhere to go where they could organize and create. And it just got me thinking into what was available for children at the elementary school level. It was important, I think, as I thought of this, as I was at a point in my life where it was time to do something a little bit more meaningful with my career. I had spent 40 years in large corporate organizations. When I worked in Nashville, I was working in the music space, so I was fortunate enough to make some really cool connections. But I wanted to see what do we have in Dickson that gives children after school accessibility to programs. And it turned out there was very little. There was after school organized sports, which in and of themselves, there's some requirements about abilities and physical capabilities. And I knew there was kids who liked martial arts, which were pretty expensive. So I started asking around, and I met with the folks at the local board of education, and it really was an opportunity to combine three things that were really, really important to me, and that is underserved children, education, and music. And over the years, as this community has grown, and quite honestly, more money has moved into the organization, that does not change the lives of the children who are living on the outskirts of Van Leer in White Bluff. So it was important to me to make sure that our program targeted and really did proactive community outreach to families that I felt, selfishly so, could benefit from something like this. So that was back in 2010 when we started conceptualizing what this possibly could do. And in order to make it financially feasible, we went the route of a nonprofit, a 501c3, which we were granted. And thanks to the support from Miss Ernestine Adams at the Dickson County Board of Education, we ran a few pilot programs in some of the after-school daycare for Dickson County, and it was successful. And eventually, Miss Ernestine gave me the green light to go into every school that would welcome us. So I was in touch with all of the principals and proposed what our after-school program would look like, what the engagement model would look like. And here we are 15 years later. We're in every elementary school in Dickson County. We serve all fourth and fifth graders. We were in a middle school we were at William James Middle School, but there was some issues about spacing and timing of when the children could be available. So right now we are in elementary schools. We do homeschool community co-ops. We also conduct a significant 20 classes a week at our studio in downtown Dickson. So we will be where the children are in order to be able to reach them and make it accessible. But it all goes down to 2010. Looking for ways that we can engage and give more children opportunity, level the playing field for all kids, whether you were, I don't care where you live, I don't care what your family income is, I don't care anything about you other than the fact that you're willing to show up, put in the effort, and we'll take it from there.
Well, and I appreciate you giving us that explanation and mentioning Miss Ernestine Adams, because she is one of the greatest educators that we've had in this county. She's, just done so much for the kids. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm a educator. I'm a ninth grade world history teacher over at the high school. That's my full-time job. And when I'm not doing this radio show, and Ernestine has just been great. And so I love the fact that you mentioned her name this morning.
Couldn't have done it without her. There are a few people, a very small core. Ernestine Adams was the first person who really understood what it was we were trying to do, who looked me in the eye and believed that we had the ability and the capability to deliver against the promises we were making. And there's also the gentleman who owns the building that we use as our studio, Mr. Bradford Deal, was literally the guy I knocked on his door when this building barely had a door. And he has been completely committed to this program from day one, all the renovations, and it's just been outstanding. And then, of course, we have a great relationship with the Country Music Association, the CMA, with Miss Tiffany Kearns, who they have been a huge supporter. And that's just three of many that have grown over the years. Locally, we're good partners with the Jackson Foundation, the Good Luck Foundation, the Community Foundation in Dickson County and Middle Tennessee. So it's just grown. The relationships have grown, and it's, when you operate from a position of integrity and you're genuine in what your objectives are, and you deliver against what you say you're going to do, it's just great things happen.
Well, and I appreciate you calling in this morning. For those who may be tuning in a little bit late this morning, we're talking to Mr. Jim Lutz, who is with the Quest Center, which is a great organization that provides tons of opportunities for kids to learn music right here in Dickson. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk more about the Quest Center. You're listening to The Morning Show right here on Dickson County Radio. All right, we're back here on Dickson County Radio, and this morning we're talking with Mr. Jim Lutz with the Quest Center. And Jim, I appreciate you calling in this morning. I appreciate you giving me, first off, an overview of kind of what, the Quest Center is, and kind of taking us back in time to around 2010 when this thing really got going. How hard was it when you were getting it started to get that nonprofit status and to get all of this organized? Because I know kind of firsthand that that's not really the easiest thing to do, and there can be a lot of roadblocks when you're trying to, get things started as far as, through the government and things like that.
Yeah, I think they've made it a little bit easier to get a 501c3 classification, but back then it literally took us 11 months to do it. We worked with attorneys with the Center for Nonprofit Management in Nashville. So all of our paperwork, everything flowed nicely. It was just a backlog at the IRS level. So it was 11 months. So I think some of the bigger challenges that we had were local. It was really just building the trust and the confidence that among parents and community leaders that our intentions were genuine, that we had a plan, and it was really just taking that leap of faith that that Jim Lutz had the capability to build this organization and service our children, and really just in its pure form, just providing music education for kids. So we did have a little bit of problem just getting over that hump of I didn't grow up in Dickson. I didn't go to Dickson County High School, so clearly there was a there was this wonder of why are you doing this? But this was my home. I chose to live here. I didn't have to live here, and I looked to see how could I take my talents and my experience and contribute to the community. And this was the way I could do it. And I had enough business background that I was able to put together operational models and financial models that demonstrated that this thing could work and it could be successful and it could be a long-term viability based on, we have three revenue streams. We generate income through our low program fees, but through donations, which we'll talk about a little later, and through grants. And we have some wonderful grant partners. And again, we have just delivered and exceeded expectations year on year. So again, when you deliver what you say you're going to deliver, people tend to support you. So the challenges really were, other than that, was raising awareness with parents, getting to the right people to make sure that their children knew that this option was there for them.
So let's sort of shift gears now. Let's pretend that I'm a parent and my kid is in, let's say, the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in there, and they're interested in music. I've picked up on the fact that they are really musical. They want to learn an instrument, and I want to get my child involved in the Quest Center. Now, I know you mentioned earlier that you guys go out to the school, and that's kind of where it gets started. Am I right?
That is correct. Our whole cycle kicks off in August when we go out to all of the elementary schools and we meet with every 4th and 5th grader in the gymnasium, and we do these massive assemblies where the kids learn a little bit about instruments, and then we put them all in chairs and they all get to play instruments. A lot of these kids have never held, for example, a stringed instrument before. So you put a guitar in their lap and you show them that when they strum it, the entire body vibrates. You get them excited about what they can do. And then we end the assemblies with a huge jam with percussion instruments and guitars and singing and clapping, and the kids just get so fired up. And then in September, that's when we kick off our fall semester. We go through Christmas, and now we're just about to kick up in January. We'll kick up our winter spring semester, and then of course we go all through summer. So these kids have somewhere to come all year round.
So even if, like, let's say my kid wants to play an instrument that they don't have, how would the Quest Center be able to provide instruments and things like that?
Yeah, part of the development of this program was understanding what objections or what challenges would a parent have that would prevent their child from participating. And, it really all boils down to, what does it cost? Can they afford it? Do they have transportation? And do they have instruments? And we try to eliminate all those obstacles. So, right now, if a kid enrolls and they can't afford it, the most any kid would pay for a lesson is $15. We provide financial assistance, and right now, about 30% of our families are under some form of financial assistance so their child can participate. If they don't have instruments, we have instruments for them to use in class. We also have a loaner program where their parents sign out a care agreement, and we loan them instruments to take home at no cost. They just need to bring them to class. They need to demonstrate that they're practicing at home, and they get to use it for the duration of the semester. The transportation, that's something that we just haven't completely overcome yet, because even if we go into the school, somebody still has to come to school and pick them up because they cannot take a school bus home. Right. But we've tried to make sure that every obstacle that prevents a child from participating in our class, that we are able in some way to offload those burdens to the parents.
Well, and I appreciate you mentioning that, because to me, as I sit here and I think about it from a parent's point of view, to me that would be the biggest hurdle. Would be, okay, we can get you there, we can maybe pay the $15, but we don't have that particular instrument. So I think it's just great that you guys have different ways that even if you don't have the instrument, there's still ways to get it. So I just want to make sure parents know that, because I don't want them to automatically just assume, well, we can't afford that instrument. There are different ways to make this accessible to everybody. And so I'm just glad that you kind of hammered home on that, because I think that's kind of the Quest Center's goal. And I hate to speak for you, but just kind of, from us talking, it feels like you guys are just trying to make this accessible to everyone.
Everyone, and I mean everyone. We also, in every week, we have a class that we call Enriching Lives, and that is focused on individuals living with disabilities who may not have the ability to sit in a class of a beginner guitar class or a keyboard class or a violin class. But we want anyone, even children who don't have the physical or the developmental capabilities to master an instrument, to be able to experience music, to be able to experience the social and the fun aspect of making music together, whether it's singing, whether it's banging on a keyboard. We've also got a recording studio where children record music. So everyone is welcome. Like I said, don't care where you come from. Don't really care what happens on the outside of the studio. When you come in here, you're here for one reason. And I see children, their developmental skills. We get testimonials from parents saying what they've been, the difference, the independence, the maturity, the creativity that they see in their children develop once they've been with us for a while. So we always start going into the public schools where we're just the music teachers. But the longer a child is with this program, I think the parents truly do come to see the value that we provide, because of all of the other benefits that children derive from our culture.
Yeah, we're talking with Mr. Jim Lutz this morning from the Quest Center. Jim, I appreciate you calling in this morning and telling us all about this. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about your fundraiser, because I know that there are probably people listening who, maybe they don't have kids, but maybe they have the means to maybe help support this particular program that you've created that is benefiting a lot of kids. So we'll talk about that on the other side. You're listening to The Morning Show right here on Dickson County Radio. All right, we're back here on The Morning Show on Dickson County Radio, and I've just had a fantastic time this morning talking with Mr. Jim Lutz from the Quest Center here in Dickson. And if you're not familiar with the Quest Center, maybe you're tuning in a little bit late, the Quest Center is an organization that provides opportunities for young people to learn music. And we've been talking all about it this morning. Jim, I appreciate you calling in. Before we go any further, we've talked a lot about the Quest Center. Where exactly is your brick and mortar location? Where exactly are you guys in Dickson?
We are in downtown Dickson on 202 East Railroad Street. So if you're familiar at all with downtown Dickson, we are right along the railroad tracks, just east of Center Avenue. Our rear parking lot faces the Walnut Street Church of Christ, and we are just across the street from Holland Park. So come by and look for, the building doesn't look like much from the outside. It's a one-story brick building built in 1914, but my Lord, it is the coolest structure in all of Dickson County. Once you step inside, it's awesome.
Man, I love downtown Dickson and all of the history. Being a history teacher, of course, history is something that I pay attention to, and there's just so much history in downtown Dickson, and these old buildings, they have a lot of character and they have a lot to say, and so I just think that's great. I know you guys are trying to raise some money here at the end of the year. You guys got a fundraiser going on, and I'm sure there are people out there who are probably listening this morning. We've got a lot of generous people in Dickson, and this is definitely a cause that I think is definitely worth your time and your dollars. And so how can people get involved? Tell me a little bit about the fundraiser that you guys have going on at the end of the year here.
Yeah, each year we have one fundraiser, one sole fundraiser, and for a number of reasons, it is primarily online. There's a lot of soft dollars and expense and resources that we don't have that go into physical fundraisers, other than the fact that our children play around the community to help build awareness of what we do. But if I can, Justin, before we get into that actual fundraiser, we spent a lot of time talking about our weekly music classes, but I do want to expand the understanding of what the Quest Center actually does beyond that, because the music classes, that's the entry point for where all of our students join the organization. And we offer not just guitar. We offer keyboard lessons, violin lessons, drums, ukulele, banjo, vocal conditioning, and as well as audio engineering. I mentioned the Nashville Predators have donated a recording studio for our studio, so we have children that come in and actually learn how to do the actual editing and recording and the other side, sitting at the board, the other side of the creative process. But we also have other extended education, what we call extended education, and that's everything that happens outside of the classroom, whether it's live performances, whether it's field trips into Nashville to go to a performing rights organization, to visit management offices and understand what artist managers actually do, record labels. Why does a guy need a record label these days? So we try and give other people, we try to give our students a 360-degree view of the technical, the business, and the creative aspects of the music industry. And we draw on our relationships with industry professionals to try and really guide these children, because I could talk till I'm blue in the face, but when they hear it from an actual artist manager, then it means something. So we also have we have winter camps where children in 5 hours, they must write a song, create a song, record a song. And we have those up on our YouTube channel and our SoundCloud pages. So it's what these children learn in class, and then where do we take it from there? How do these kids have a plan, a growth plan, if they want to stay involved in music?
Well, and we're so close to Nashville too that you really are opening up a door to an industry that is really in these kids' backyard. You know, they're not growing up in Utah dreaming of, you know, the music industry that's so far away. I mean, these kids are within driving distance to Music Row, and so this is something that I think is just fantastic.
Yeah, each year we're able to send a few kids and their families off to the CMA festival, so kids who've never seen live music get to see it on a huge scale. So it's just a great to give these kids an opportunity to see. It's not just about picking strings and strumming chords. There's a whole lifestyle around this, and whether you want to be a lawyer, a musician, a truck driver, an accountant, there's a spot for you in the entertainment industry, and we just want to give you the exposure to that so you can, put that in your arsenal and make decisions as you get older and where you want to focus your time. And I already mentioned our Enriching Lives Through Music program for children with disabilities. But the other thing that we do, when we go into public schools or even the classes that we have at our studio, depending on the number of students, we also give our students an opportunity through a program we call the Pathway Program. And that's where students can develop their own leadership and engagement skills and their communication skills as paid teaching assistants in our classrooms. So we will always, if we have a class that has 10, 12 kids in it, there are always going to be kids who excel. There are always going to be kids who are performing as expected. And there's also going to be kids that have a little bit tougher time grabbing the concepts of what we're trying to do. And we're able to set them aside with assistant teachers to give them a little bit more personalized attention. So it's really good to give these children who've come in here and now they get to pay it forward. One, we pay them, and two, they get to develop their own skills by helping these other children learn how to play music, just like somebody helped them. So I just think it's a great opportunity to develop leadership and communication skills for our younger children.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm so glad you called us this morning and are going really in depth with this thing, because there's a lot of these things that I just didn't know, and I'm glad you're taking the time to explain it to all of us, because I think there's probably a lot of people out there who just didn't know all the different opportunities that there really are at the Quest Center.
Right. No, and I like I told you, I just eat, breathe, and this is just what is so important to me, and knowing the impact that we've had on children. I will get messages from parents that I taught their children 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I've recently had a mom reach out to me who said, I never really thanked you enough for what you did for my kid, because I see now the lessons you taught him. And he'll even say, well, I learned this from Mr. Jim or Mr. Neil or Mr. Darren. So it's important that these kids, they remember, they listen, and they may not, we may not be nurturing the next Eric Clapton, but boy, they are developing skills that are going to help them throughout life, whether it's in school, whether it's looking for a job, or whether it's just learning how to be a decent human being by saying please and thank you and being respectful to everyone else around you.
I totally agree with that. When you're raising up children, school is a great resource. You go to school from 8 to 3, but it's really those extracurriculars that a kid does that I really think kind of rounds them out and really gives them those different opportunities to do different things that you can't just find in school. I mean, I know there's music classes and things like that, but you guys are going in depth and doing things that you can't really get in school, and frankly, you really can't get as a kid anywhere other than the Quest Center. So I really think it's a unique place that hopefully will be around for a really, really long time.
Well, I hope so too. So yeah, so let's talk about that fundraiser.
So yeah, if we're going to keep it there a long time, how can we help raise some money to make sure that it does stick around?
Yeah, the current fundraiser we have, it's our once a year fundraiser. We set a goal of $15,000. It goes from Giving Tuesday all the way through December 31st. And I will tell you, I'm very pleased that we're at 87% achievement here. So we are less than $2,000 away from a lofty $15,000 goal. So we have, through our social media, the best way to get information about the Quest Center is through social media, not even the website. The website is relatively static for information about our program, but for current events, for unbelievable videos of kids playing and having fun and learning, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have SoundCloud. Those are good places to go, but most of our links to participate in our fundraiser are on our Facebook page and our Instagram page. And we go through primarily PayPal because they will not charge us fees right now, the PayPal Giving Fund. So if you have $10 or $20, or hey, if you have 500 or 1,000, that's good too. But anything helps. And we had a donor match partner in Tensco. Each year they match up to $5,000. We've exceeded that. This year they upped it to $6,000. So it's just we have a momentum going, and we would love everyone to participate because you may not think $10 goes far, but when a lot of people do just a little bit, it adds up. It adds up, and we're all less than $2,000 away from our goal, and we have about 5 days to hit it. So please look at our Facebook page, PayPal. We also have a Venmo account. So and you can also message us through any means, whether it's email, whether it's through text, whether it's through Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp. You can reach us if you have any questions or wonder where does your money go. But I think if you scroll through our Facebook page, you will absolutely see how your money is spent and how it impacts the children in the community.
So now, is there a link to the donations there on the Facebook page?
Yes, and
Okay.
matter of fact, each day this week we're going to be sharing that link, and we're going to have our children asking you to invest in them,
Okay,
and we will be
great.
sharing performance videos. So you'll get to see a whole lot of kids out there, and you probably scroll, and there's going to be kids there that you probably know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we'll make sure that we go in and share that link for everybody listening that is following our Facebook page, and we'll link you over to them. And if you're not following the Quest Center, you definitely need to be doing that. Well, Jim, I appreciate you calling in this morning. Is there anything else you want to say about the Quest Center, maybe that we haven't hit yet? I know we've kind of been all over the place. I think we've talked about everything, but can you think of anything else we want to mention to the folks?
No, all I would do is encourage you to spread the word. We start our children at grade 4. We feel that that's a good age where children have the maturity, the focus, and actually not get too frustrated with what it is we're trying to do. And we serve kids from from ages 9 up till 18. So if you know someone, and like I said, I can't stress enough, there are no surprises, there are no gotchas here. If your child wants to get involved, or you would like to see if your child would like it simply by exposing them, give us a holler. We're happy to meet you at the studio, talk about our program, talk to your children. But it's really important that more people know about this program. I will say each year, this program, as we go around the county, each year over 2,220 children participate in some form of Quest Center program. When we look at our enrollment numbers, our service statistics, about 425 children participate in our after-school classes every year. That's about 180 students each semester, and then summertime about 70 kids at the studio. So there's a lot of children that come through here, but we can handle more because we have 10 unbelievable teachers, very committed, very talented, and we also have our assistant teachers, so we can scale depending on how many children we need to service and make sure they all get the personalized attention they deserve.
Well, thank you so much for calling in and explaining this to us, because I think this has just been a very comprehensive interview that's kind of hit on a whole lot of different things. That so, if you were really interested in the Quest Center by listening to this interview, I think you're going to get enough information to get going in the right direction. Whether that be a parent who's trying to get a kid signed up, or whether that's somebody in the community who just really values this type of program and wants to donate. I think that we've given them that information. So let's go today, everybody. Let's go to their Facebook page. Let's find a few dollars to donate and see if we can get over that mark. We're less than $2,000 away, and I know the folks in Dickson County are very capable of helping us meet that number. So, Jim, thank you so much. And listen, anytime that you want to come on and promote this, that's what this show is all about on Saturday morning, is community and helping folks in the community know about different resources and different organizations. And so we appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome to come on anytime.
I appreciate, and I'm going to take you up on that. So careful what you say.
No, I'm serious. I have to get a guest every Saturday morning, so I'm always looking for somebody. So anytime you guys got anything going on, maybe a concert or anything like that, just call us up. Let us know. We'll be glad to put you back on the air here, and we'll get the information out to as many people as we possibly can.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your audience.
Thank you very much. Well, we're going to wrap up the show here. We're going to take another break. We'll come back. We'll finish things up. You're listening to The Morning Show here on Saturday morning on Dickson County Radio. We'll be right back.